So I want to light a fire under my fellow fiber artists here to enter some things in the next fiesta, which, like I said, is going to be in 2026. Right?
Sue, just to say an answer to her question, there are 3 people on the chat that are entered in that.
3 people on the chat are in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who has shown up? Oh, okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, are there any more announcements? Is there any more? I have one more show and tell. We'd like to see things.
This is a crackle. This is a crackle.
a what hole?
A crackle.
Oh,
It's a crackle weed. What can I say?
more. I know nothing.
Hold on.
Crackle weave is an interesting weave structure because on the whole, it looks so much different than this. It never looks like this. So beats me. You can do a lot with it, apparently. It's silk and rayon, bamboo. It's everything but wool because I've taken wool out of my repertoire. What else can I say?
Well,
I dyed some of the silk. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid dyeing everything because you know what? It's a lot of work. What else? I'm gonna get a new loom because this is really hard to do on a little loom. What else?
well, I'm curious about how the lines, like, that looks like warp, don't line up.
Well, there's a lot of weird silk that's a real pain in the butt to use because it all wants to stick together. But sorry. Yeah, it's finding the materials at a price that's halfway reasonable. I was thinking about I would make something for someone in trade for yarn. And maybe that I could make that into a project where I can acquire more yarns that are interesting, and then you can have it be beneficial for everyone. So that's a thought. But I'll throw it around after or pass it around. Okay, let's take it. You want to do okay.
Mike, is the mic on?
Lights red. So let's take a few minutes break and then come back.
Speakers can with us.
So that hands are free. It's good with you. You didn't show conforming about it. So hard for me to apparently not. Oh, yeah. That's okay. I should have done that. My brother. What is it? Textiles? No. Celebrate my 70th birthday in Massachusetts. Double Ns. It was quite a surprise. Because the kids were hiding and, then somebody's knock on the door and all on the front. Yeah, it was a wonderful time. Yeah. Well, thank you.
It certainly is.
We will get together. We keep saying that, it's just been crazy. I think it's finally gonna. So, but yeah, I'm just finishing a big project. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go see if there's any fruit left. Huh? I'm gonna go see if there's any fruit left.
Yeah, it works. It works so well with this. Both are. It's different shades of green. It's just. They're very.
I like her hands dying. Yeah. Even over the street. I'm gonna pass. I'll pass this. Well, you know, I used that.
Which, West. Okay. So. It's been a step. The channel. So you can.
I think so. I guess. How are you doing? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good to see you. I saw you. I said, you were in the room. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. She's still in his house. Wonderful. Likewise.
We're getting that echo again.
So I am putting the camera on the
and some our bio, we kind of combined them and put them together. For the slideshow with Erin, she was put together a PowerPoint, because I'm an Apple person. So they helped us put the slideshow together. We gave the same lecture a few weeks ago for no doubt. The road was icy and we could not go down. We did a key point, and the ladies from the guild figured out how to get into my computer and convert it. Together. This collaboration also supports our children. Like our ancestors or the past of people, they acquired again. And here the most coming. Because when we started, I found this one concept of the common, so we all part of it. Then how the fertile fiber will be washed and dried and fun on racial grounds, and on that. After the 5 years done, I will then hand it over to the lead. And it's going to be all natural. 5 minutes. I have any guys know. Her request was the only one of our and she wanted us to be focused to the color of honor part. So we found the poster fiber that represents on fire. So that's what one of them. Okay, go ahead. We do now, we have a picture starting with that we rent from the and guild. That's one of the lines. On most of it, and then the final is on them, get the final draft. Okay. The bill of the county planning order is that of a list of then that's just the line. Those colors here, those in the sun. Despite the necessary and heavily forest and not covered. Who has carried on the list of trade of the people, this like general public. Which both using and but one that you tell Mary that has second woman and he was the vice chief that conquered most of the Southwest. But it's not really the Lord that they list them down as a tedious and horrible people and year-round people. The thing is to create peace and when we can peace about people and second woman. If I feel that's how most design are created. The jacket of the that was final together of his grandfather wanted to tell. And if you look at you're looking at restaurant that they have and since someone says we don't Paul starts and okay. The colors from the plants that surround the yellow come from local education. And so Weaver is upset with me. I looked at her and I said, yeah, I kind of heard. And I tell her, but who cares, you know? And she says, well, I'm really thinking about changing the business name to Weaving Southwest. Do you think that would make amends? And I think that would do your business much better. Now, Rachel was my instructor and she always believed about location, location, location. If you listen to her in the business segment of the class. So when I was going to open a business, I had two choices. I had the building that the Espanol Fiber Arts currently owns. I had gone down to go look at that building. And then we had several banks. And of course, I went to the banks that my dad banked here in Santa Fe. And every banker was like, no. Finally walked into Century Bank, which was Valley National Bank, and an old hometown bank in Espanola, and proposed my two plans to them by paperwork. I'm glad that I did it because I got my home, I got my studio, I'm up in my community. That was one bold move that I did. I had to make that decision to choose a location. And I always try to go off of what Rachel taught me in the business. Then down to she would have she had a wonderful studio at her home in times. One of everybody will come to the studio. And go and I'm saying, okay. I see the spinning wheel position. and we've shipped out 5 last 2 months, 5 looms. So I guess we're officially making looms. Okay, our main thing was to I was able to acquire by calling make number, I've acquired a loom lady had in the guild that was a JL Hammett. And she had moved into San Diego Park and she had put it on the newsletter. I kept seeing loom, da 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 da. I thought, well, I have room for one more loom. So I started talking to her at the meetings, and I went, well, do I want another loom, you know, to go see the loom? And then I thought, well, and so I went, oh. Belonged to Uncle Gordon, and a beautiful loom. I had to change out all the old metal chains to the textile cords because you couldn't get them. So it works beautifully. Beautiful now that I changed it out. And then I was able, where I'm going with this, God led me to it. Because I kept putting, I don't need another loom. Just recently used looms, you can get the bottom brace just a little bit bigger, and I'm looking for help, and I saw him outside starting to load the truck. I'm nursing what my it's swollen. We spent 2 weeks, right, Jane, to a lady in Georgia, and she just part Navajo. And her name of her Indian name is White Cloud. She wants to start a program to get some Navajo people. They're living in that area going, I think she can do it. We built more looms, and it's not just doing them on the Navajo loom. Weaving can be done in any plane on there to high tension on those counterbalance looms. One of Rachel's dreams was to have a good write-up. Which didn't happen. Never took any of the paperwork because it was in her computer. But I had worked on it, so I knew where she was going with it. And she didn't get to that final. She did with the loom, with the spinning wheel. The spinning wheel, like I tell everybody, was Rachel's pride and joy. Because she took it from the beginning to the end on still some stuff in her book. Because those are to help her with additions on there, so, but I wouldn't follow the Indo dye. I would definitely follow Kamiko Nez or Connie Taylor, who also was a consultant for her. And I learned how to dye my wool from Kamiko from Japan. So, and some from Connie from the college. Okay, you want to give any?
So this meeting here is, we call it, we hand dyed, all the young design. Makes it look like the road also.
Like, that's what we were playing with the design, so usually I'm doing a lot of the designing, and I'll do a first piece, and then he likes it, and I tell him change the color. And our art anymore, not only it's functional too, still, but it's more artsy. You know, being that we're here in Spanish market. On that piece, they were all Ellen dyes, and I learned how to dye synthetic company. I went out to Providence, Rhode Island, and studied under Sarah Lamb. The medical tea that I told you grows, I mean, we love it. And it grows wild all over. It also makes a great sweet medicinal tea. It'll help you with your kidneys to flush out. So we pick along the roadway to dye with, and then we try and find an off-road to pick medicinally. Just because I don't want to pick along the roadway because you got all the gas, the oils, everything, the salt. I don't mind picking it along the roadway, and then we'll just go off of offshoots and pick for medicinal purposes.
And the tan, a little bit of tan that's in there is, black walnuts.
And the blue, there's blue in there is indigo. And this pattern,
Middle on the bottom stripe.
and this pattern came to be when I had a couple come from Denver and they wanted to order a marriage blanket. They said a marriage blanket. I went, okay. Okay. We use those when they do the bride nail on this blanket or rug, and they give away the groom and the bride to each other again from the family. It's a traditional thing that they do in the Spanish. So we made this designs represent themselves coming into the union of marriage. And then we took the colors and put them in the center on there. And then we kind of at that point kind of envision maybe like they have 2 kids, that's the, so I put 2 hourglasses going in the center. And then as they go back out, as they walk their life together and they go back out. That was a power piece. It's been a powerful weaving and a lot of orders for it. And I actually put the hourglasses represented their years, how old they were. Luckily, they were 21, 22. So you could tell that it was off by just one, if on there. So that would be really skewed. My mom would be like real tiny, my dad would be like way out over here or something, you know? That would be a very artistic expression. Here's a floor rug we did on the edge of Rio Rancho in South Albuquerque, but she said it was Albuquerque. So as we do stuff, we learn like regions and where people. So this one's a composite rug. It was all churro. And I actually have it here like down and finished, and I'm seaming the blanket. There was one other larger project that we did for a lady here from Santa Fe that was 5 composite rugs on there, 48 inches wide, 20 feet long. And luckily it was early on in our studio where we only had 3 little on there, and I didn't have hardly any starving studio artists all my time. I recently have gotten some really nice displays because a lot of businesses have closed. So it would be hard for me to lay those, but I had 2 youth apprentices and Gloria, his cousin, helping. And so we seamed 2 panels and 2 panels, and the last panel was seamed at her house. And so we laid, I had Elias Vigil on one side, was seaming here. And if Elias can go, I'd take Filbert and it was Jewish on there. We were very respectful that we ate outside. So you can use our dining room. Oh no, we got the works.
And
It means.
she had the living room already set up to where TV was going to be. So she had some designs and things from the TV, even up to where she had the chairs. She wanted the designs right in front of the.
If you want to see it, commission. it's changed up, it's up, yeah. And my art studies at college are always too afraid to step on, you know, people's pants or their stylistic ways and that. And he said one day in class, you know, do it. All art is just something old made new. And when he said that, I went like, wait, what did you say? I mean, I would never. They unearthed, and it was a swan, beautiful shape, and I thought, dogs down, and the world is great. So that's how we come up with designs, you know. He goes, talks to Patrick, and he looks at me like, and I'm going like, I think my design class with yellow shit is have to start kicking in, have to do some research and then come up with something. So see, everything that Rachel did, where she put me, that lady knew. As I walked through, I'm always like so grateful to Rachel. At the time, I didn't know it. I'd be like, okay, I gotta go sit down. The students do it, and I'm going in my mind, I'm doing it. I'm not in the class, but I did take some classes. With Eugene Pierre, there was one class that I took and I came up with a little masterpiece that's in my own collection. Everybody like, I put it, I wanna buy it. No, that's my memory, and that's got the stitches. I can look at it. And every once in a while, I'll get on a loom and start creating it so I don't forget it. And I thought that Jeremy or James would leave in his book how to do it. He didn't. He left it in his students, which there's several of us that he left it. On there. He came up with, oh, so and so fast, don't tell me it's Rachel. And that one day, no, it's James, Jeremy. I was like, I wrote down tears. That was death. And then Rachel was close to my mother's death because she's my mother of art. My mother is my mom biologically, but it was equally the same. Oh, Rio Grande Chimayó clothing. Gene wanted to start clothing when he retired. This was 7 years ago. We were doing vests. I was okay with vests, but when he said, I want to do coats, I went, an arm itself takes a yard a week. I could not think of doing this, a yard for a sleeve. Here's some of the coats. Now the gray coat, tell them about the gray coat, Gene. The gray coat
With capes.
with the cape. Yeah, that's one of the first coats that we did.
Well, it's, and the, arrows, that's on the back designs, and then on the, some of the sleeves, we put, like leaves that are like, this, the white one there.
Purple, light and dark. And we picked up this coat going up towards Estes Park Wool Market from our seamstress. I have a seamstress that works with us also, Sandra Davies from Taos. And we picked it up from her in Tias Perlas on 285 as we're heading towards Estes Park. Put it on the show floor. One lady saw it, and then it was a buzz of the Denver buzz after that made him famous. For coats, and I knew I was.
And a men's one. And it's just, well, when I was doing some research, and the genealogy, it had, about the people, the men from Chimayó, when they would ride the horses, the coat, and it was, like the duster, is what I. And the reason.
Research,
The reason that they, would ride, they rode in Santa Fe a lot of times, but one time they rode in, it was for. The, is it the Rio Riba or, Chimayó Rebellion? And, you know, so they were, upset because the government, as usual, would tax them, and they said, well, yeah, we're taxing the military because we're protecting it, but they never would have. So people would have to protect their own boundaries and stuff, so they went to Santa Fe to protest their.
demand their rights. Who's charging us taxes? US government or Mexican government? They were confused.
This is that time, so that's where we got the idea of the handle the duster.
And we've done several of them in twills and different pattern weaves. Here's several, every once in a while I'll get my El Santuario de Chimayó, a picture that I took in a photography class of a double rainbow, which was a beautiful day. I knew it was gonna be a wonderful sky. And so I'll usually, I had this picture in my archives for several years. When I'm teaching tapestry, I took out and pulled out several things to inspire the students. And I thought maybe Judy was gonna leave it in the rose branch weaving class. She hired me to do it instead, and it took me almost a year and a half, yeah. Cause I also dabble in doing public school work for Espanol Public Schools. So, and before that, I did 18 years with the senior services program. Tuesdays and Wednesday paid, of course. This one is another tapestry piece that I did that actually was a down payment for the acre right next to our home. Came up for sale. And I was talking to the bank, I was making this, and I intended to give that one to him because it has a story about him getting lost in the forest. There's the leaves or the tree branches, the darkness, the brown, and he's lost in the middle of the night. He's trying to figure out how to get back to hunting camp. I put the directional, because I told, didn't you ever think about looking up the Great Bear and finding your direction and that? He was pretty lost. They sent out people to go look for him. His mom was crying. And I've always heard that story, so I said I wanted to do a piece that had that in there, and I was gonna give it to him. And a lady came in that was an astrologist. Is that what they are? The ones that study the stars and stuff? Astronomer, there you go, I always get them mixed up. And she came in and she went, oh my God, that is beautiful. And the concept, and then I started telling her the story and she goes, are you selling it? And I went, I need $4,000 as a down payment to get that property. It might be, hold on, step to the side. Gene, you know that tapestry I was making for you? And then that could buy that property, we'd have the money that the bank's wanting us down right now. Go ahead, sell it. That was a hard thing to sell, but it was. She had these glass, every once in a while when we go into Denver, we go and take it off and slide it and shake it and clean the glass for her and reinstall it. So we still reconnect with her. I've learned a lot about things, our Rio Grande tradition. This one piece here hung in Albuquerque at the airport as people came in for HGA that year. That it was in Albuquerque. I did this piece, a piece of Sabania for the guild. The guild was hosting it, so they draped them over to welcome people to come into Albuquerque. So it's an honor to have traditional pieces. I was honored to be the person that they selected several of her awards at the Spanish market. As luckily it just kind of went boom, 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 and I had it. You know, I was trying to do yardage on there. Here's a scarf. Every once in a while I'll do some baby wolf plumes, mainly, or the looms, and so that one was done on a baby wolf. Again, I'm trying to take something that's traditional and those guidelines for Spanish market. Still married. I hope they're still married. We're still married after 36 years, the years that we've been together. So I started weaving when I got married to this one. Eugene, is one of your pieces.
Yeah, so a Chimayó design, and I put the you see on the first design, the bottom there, makes clothes look like birds in flight. And on the center one, it's similar to that one too, to both of them. And it has the leaves around the center design. And then you have what we call the chispas, and that's a round blue. So it's round with blue and then the background color, 3 rounds. And then you just make the design. It's faster to make the design. It's not a solid design, but it makes it designed to where it builds some space or doesn't make it.
There are really called it that are laid in eccentric wefts. And this one is a piece that he did for his master apprentice. So he was the apprentice and his master was Dumas Vigil, and teaching him the skills of how to lay up the design. It's all hand dyed natural to keep the costs down for the state, for the art division, for us to have bought the yarn synthetically, it would have costed too much. So what we did was we bought a gray background and then we bought white and then we dyed everything naturally. And that also helped reinforce those lessons and those recipes that I had gotten from the community college. This one is another indigo piece. Again, hourglasses, make serrated diamonds, all of the designs. If you look in the Spanish traditional weaving book done by Nora Vick, that was kind of like our biblical standards for Spanish market. So I was doing these and just learning how to do the designs on there, and then making a sellable product to help Gene with bills, because I work part-time for the government and they paid me pretty good, but we've always, both Eugene and I, worked jobs. Here's a piece that won, it's a double weave. It's done with indigo, and Rachel Brown did not know that I had done this piece, and she was here, and she told me, you would not have won this award if it wasn't for me. I kept pulling them back to this piece because this one had more skill than all the elaborate design ones that were there, which were probably the Trudell's award, and it was for a double weave. So I walk into the exhibition hall, and there's Rachel looking at it, and she turns and like, you did this? I didn't know you had that skill. And I went like, I was listening in class, as you fooled me. But it was a double weave, she said. It is so, it just, the layup strings. Here's a piece that is a saltillo piece entitled Bugs in My Mother's Garden on there. So I went to go pick the marigolds that are kind of really got along. We just always had that relationship, always fighting all the way down to the very end on there. But that one day I went, I visited her. We were picking marigolds and we were happy, and I brought back and I dyed them up, and the orange on that is marigold. And then I do piece for the lady, she didn't want her yarns back. She only took a ball in case she needed repairs. I told her I think that's all she'll need it. Hold up for at least 8 generations. The almost road. Sorry, in the museum, so hey, I have to go in and take out and clean it. Like I told her, if you drop wine, because she does a lot of social parties, but nobody can go on the floor unless you flat shoes. Nobody with heels, no wine, red wine. You can have white wine, but the white wine will probably just, it might stain it, but pretty much all of it is natural churro sheep on there. And I think all of the fiber for that one came from Connie Taylor on that big piece. This one here are just serrated diamonds. We were doing saltillo. These are smaller pieces, 50. I did a loom that was motorized because I couldn't do it. His master told me I wasn't gonna be able to do it. I had to stand on the treadle and then reach, wait. Reach. No, that was not gonna happen. So I one of my students was electronic. Mechanical, and he put me a motor. I'll buy the motor, you put the work to put it in, he got that going, and so I got my blanket done. And I go, demons! He's all, he wove it for you. I said, no, I did it. How did you do it? We put an indent. To the studio, one, then Irvington Hill. Put an engine, and when I get to the one, see how it goes? It was easy. Here, and Demas was doing over for a living, and he worked for all of the vegan shops whenever they needed it. We kind of put our blinders on. We only look at Patrick Hill every once in a while. If we don't have work, we'll go over to Patrick. We like Patrick. Not for any particular reason, because he's not related to us. Oh, he's related to you? Okay. See, I didn't know that everybody's related up there. I'm cordial with everybody. Probably related to everybody too here in this room somehow. In New Mexico, yeah. Oh, here's another smaller piece. See, here's that pattern that Eugene did in the big one. He enlarged it. It was a small one. Remember, our beginning stuff was kind of smaller looms. We were in a small church and then we enclosed it. We had 3 looms. Then we built our big 3,800 square foot adobe home in Chimayó. And so a lot of the smaller pieces were done while we were in Hernandez. So that one's another small piece. It wasn't until we moved to Chimayó in 1995 that we started doing bigger pieces, because we were competing at that point in time. And that one's a triptych one that I did for a show at the Bond House Museum. And then of course, if it didn't sell it, and then here's our traditional loom that we took those removable beams that were Grandpa Toribio. Grandpa Toribio wove probably in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and maybe the loom belonged to his parents prior to that. My mother-in-law was not sure, like, where the loom, if it came from her family, because they were weavers, or a generation. They had World War II going on. Almost National Lab came in, and I think your father and your mom were worked for the labs, yeah. Oh, here's Ghost Ranch. Ghost Ranch, I taught at Ghost Ranch, and that was starting in 1995. Helen Bency was teaching that year, and she had a heart attack. They came to get me to teach the class for her, and then I stayed at Ghost Ranch up until prior to COVID. After COVID, and then after the flood too. The flood was right before COVID. The ranch put in a lot of money to refurbish. It looked beautiful. Oh, they even, those beams, those vigas in that room were amazing. It was a beautiful, and they lost the building. The looms are now stored in the barn, and last time I cleaned them, I ended up getting valley fever. Not COVID, not the flu, but valley fever. And I was kicked off the ranch, and my contingent taught the class. And so, but a week later, after teaching, he got COVID and got really sick. Luckily, he had the shots and he took the medication and got better. And we just got COVID again back in January. Now I'm working at the schools and I'm testing every week because I want to make sure my kids are safe. Nothing coming up. They told me it's the flu or valley fever, maybe. No, I haven't cleaned anything real dirty. Then it's COVID moving. My first time, his second time. He said it was on his dad, so I went, oh, good, on there. But everything has kind of died down after COVID, even to the fact that, yeah, and here's the looms refurbished. They hired us to we did, we brought them back. And they haven't up at the ranch. It's just, I don't know if I want to go in and go clean. They don't have, and here's one of Judy's weaving. It's a beautiful program. That's your first one. That's where she learned the blocks and how to do angles. And I enjoy teaching. It's just, they need to get a facility to put the looms in again. And they got a donation. Oh, here's the piece. You wanna take a look on it?
Well, this is a piece of the Thunderbird, and
That has the
it
jingle.
has a jingles. Showing the jingles on the front part. So she wasn't said she was going to wear it.
She was gonna pin it and then be able to dance with it. So when they dance, it's like a certain step makes those jingles. And then Eugene and I, as we go around to their different shows and we do things fun. This is the Silver Quarter or something. It was kind of Western steakhouse. And I think we had sold a big piece because we're pretty happy and we're really nice, sit down, you know, steak, baked potato, and that's these wonderful. That's very good. And Eugene proudly with his ribbons at the state fair, show, we pay for our taxes with state money. So we're still kind of like our sisters for us, where we take that state money, we run. So that's part